Hello, I'm Heather.
And I'm Ryan.
Welcome to the podcast. It's game night, it's sibling rivalry, it's a walk down memory lane, but most importantly, it's politics free.
Guaranteed.
Welcome to round one of Trial by Trolley. Real quick, the game instructions are the same for every episode of this game. If you're following along or this is not your first Trial by Trolley episode, skip ahead about 2.5 minutes if you don't want to listen to the whole thing again. Here's how it works. We have a set of cards. On each one is either an innocent or a guilty party. For example, on a guilty card, we might see a bunch of mafia thugs. And on an innocent card, we might see the world's greatest physicist. Now, imagine we are conducting a trolley and we're coming up to a split track. We can't stop the trolley. We have to switch it onto one of the tracks, but there is someone or something tied to each track. No matter which way we go, we are going to kill someone or destroy something. At first glance, the choice may seem simple. Using our example above, it would be easy for us to say, run over the mafia thugs and save the physicist. But there's a catch. And this is where we bring in the modifier cards. The modifier cards contain handy statements such as, killing them will release the 13 kids they have trapped in their basement, and would literally give you the shirt off their back. Now, if the world's greatest physicist has 13 kids trapped in their basement, and the mafia thugs would literally give you the shirt off their back, maybe the choice is no longer quite so clear. So here's what we're going to do. First, I'll read Ryan his cards, letting him know who or what is tied to each of the tracks, and he'll have to explain to me who he saves and doesn't save and why. Then we'll throw in the modifier cards and see if that doesn't change his mind at all. Then we'll switch it around and it'll be my turn. The scoring is entirely subjective. We can choose to reward or not reward each other however many points we want, and the other person just has to suck it up. Whoever scores the most points wins the ever-coveted Gloating Rights trophy.
Until we play again.
It should be noted that we are playing a modified version of this game because the correctly played version was too difficult for me to translate into podcast form. Also, once again, the game is called Trial by Trolley. It is sold by Skybound Games and is available at store.skybound.com. Link in the show notes. They are not a sponsor. Current running score is 0-0. Ryan, are you ready for your cards?
I'm ready.
Excellent. On track number 1, the Kardashians.
Mm-hmm.
On track number 2, a thief planning to rob your home tonight. Who do you save and why?
Probably the thief, as much as I hate the Kardashians.
So you would run over the Kardashians with your trolley, all of them?
No, I would run over the thief.
Oh, gotcha.
Because I really can't afford to have all my stuff robbed. And the Kardashians have zero effect over my life, as annoying as they are. So I'll just let them keep on living and keep my shit.
But you understand that you're going to run over and kill all the Kardashians if you put the track. Oh, no, you're going to kill the thief.
Yes, Heather.
Oh, I messed that up.
Oh,
I
my
fucked that up
God.
so bad. You know why? Because I would run over the thief also. I don't know why I got so confused. I don't know why.
You know, there might be a silver lining here. Maybe the Kardashians will be like, oh my God, thank you so much for saving our lives. Here's all our, not all of our money, but here's a bunch of our money. And then I'll be like, yay, I love the Kardashians.
Okay, so far, I'm liking your answer, but let's see what happens if we add some modifier cards to this situation. The Kardashians will do anything for you if you save them. That's going to make it even harder to make this decision.
Okay.
A thief planning to rob your home tonight just peed in a crowded swimming pool. Now, does that change your answer?
Not at all.
All right, Ryan, I will award you 2 points for this answer. I like your, I'm there with you on that answer.
Thank you.
Once I finally understood what you were saying instead of being an idiot.
It's okay, Heather.
All right. Are you ready for your next cards?
Oh, yes, I am.
On track number 1, a swarm of killer bees flying straight toward you.
I don't think the fucking train's gonna do much to them.
It's really not, but in this mythical trolley track, you will kill all of them. You will. Okay.
Okay.
On track number 2, a friendly talking dinosaur. Who do you save and why?
I'm gonna save the dinosaur, because if he's friendly and can talk, then he's sentient, and killer bees do a lot of damage to the world. So I'll kill the killer bees. I'll kill Killer, yo.
Ryan. Question.
Yeah.
What kind of dinosaur is it?
Does the card say?
It had a brontosaurus looking. Is it a brontosaurus when they have the long neck and they eat from trees?
Is my trolley going to be able to kill a brontosaurus anyway, or am I just going to end up killing myself, crashing into a brontosaurus?
I think the train theoretically will kill whatever you hit with it or destroy whatever you hit with it. It's a magic bullet trolley.
Awesome. Then no, I'm not. Why would I kill a friendly talking brontosaurus? He's not even a meat eater. He's not even a predator.
Okay, fine. But let's see what happens if we add some modifier cards.
Okay.
Ryan, a swarm of killer bees flying straight toward you smokes 4 packs a day.
Awesome.
A friendly talking dinosaur has no friends.
Guess he just made a new friend.
All right. I'll give you a point for that answer. I liked your answer there.
Only 1 point?
I'll give you 1.5 points for that answer.
All right.
No, I'll give you 2 points for that answer because I don't want to have to add halves because that's complicated.
Okay. Awesome.
All right, Ryan, your final set of cards. On track number 1, Karen from HR.
Okay.
I just want to say for a moment, the only Karen I have known to my recollection was like the nicest person on earth.
She was.
On track number 2, the person responsible for removing the headphone jacks from your new phone. Who do you save and why? Karen from HR or the person responsible for removing the headphone jacks from your new phone?
Well, I'm going to save Karen from HR because my Karen from HR is a very wonderful person. And screw the guy that removed the headphone jacks off of my phones.
I agree with your assessment here. I'm personally very annoyed with the removal of the standard headphone jack from most phones.
Yeah.
But let's see what happens, Ryan, when we add the modifier cards. On track number 1, Karen from HR, choose their food with their mouth open.
Okay.
Ryan. Okay.
I can deal with that.
On track number 2, the person responsible for removing the headphone jacks from your new phone wrote some really awful things online a few years ago.
That doesn't change my answer. I'm still running them over.
All right. You get a point for that one. Your overall total score for this round, Ryan,
6 points,
5
Heather.
points.
6 points.
Okay, 2 + 2 + 1, not to quote the movie Clue, is 5. So, and your running score is 5. You're on the board.
All right.
You're on the board. Let's do mine.
On track number 1, a corrupt cop about to frame you for murder. And on track number 2, yourself from 10 years in the future. Who do you save and why?
I'm going to save myself there, bro.
And why?
Yeah. Well, because I like myself more than the corrupt crop about to frame me. Corrupt crop. That's a tongue twister, and we didn't know it till I just said it. I like myself more than the corrupt cop about to frame me for murder. But I was thinking about this. Myself, what if myself from 10 years in the future is actually prison me?
You haven't gotten to the modifier cards. Have not gotten to the modifier cards.
But
irrelevant.
I can stop it. Myself 10 years in the future could be prison me from the cop framing me for murder. I might have exhausted all my appeals and be stuck on death row, and maybe I just want to get it over with faster.
But,
in which case, I would run over myself 10 years in the future.
Okay, but if you run over the corrupt cop about... Okay, you know what, Heather? I don't like your answer.
You're right. You're absolutely
stop
right.
It. No, that's negative 1 point. Negative 1 point already. You chose yourself, Heather, because you thought you were going to be stuck in prison, falsely accused. Wow.
I did not think that through intelligently. I'm off to a bad start on being smart in this game, okay? I can give you that, but you can't give me a score until we add the modifier cards. So, Ryan,
all right.
On track number 1, a corrupt cop about to frame me for murder, if killed, will return more powerful than you could ever imagine. Myself 10 years in the future is madly in love with you. I'm madly in love with myself.
Does that change your answer at all, Heather?
It does not change my answer. I'm gonna nail that cop with my trolley and stay in love with my future self because I deserve it, Ryan.
Your first answer was to run over yourself, but now you're gonna run him over, and he's gonna return more powerful than ever. So you're still gonna be stuck in prison, Heather. Negative 1 point.
I forgot about that part. I was too concerned about being narcissistically in love with myself. It all went away after I saw that. Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, let me go.
I'm ready for my next cards. Let's just put this behind me because I need to move on and try to get some points here.
Okay, Heather, you ready?
Uh-huh.
On track number 1, your grandma. On track number 2, your landlord. Who do you save and why?
Well, Ryan, I'm going to save my grandma, and I'm going to run over my landlord. And I'm sorry, Doris. You're a wonderful person. But my grandma came back from the dead, and I can't miss this opportunity. Let's see what happens if I add some modifier cards
Let's
here.
see what happens.
On track number 1, your grandma went to trial for a 12-person serial killing spree, but was acquitted on a technicality. Did not know that about my grandmother. Your landlord is pretty hot. Doris looks great for her age. She really does.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I gotta run over Grandma. I'm sorry, Grandma. She came back from the dead and became a serial killer. It was never meant to be. I'm gonna have to take you out.
All right,
But
Heather.
I'll blow you kisses while I run you over.
Perfect. I like that answer. You know what, Heather? I will award you 2 points.
Well, don't let them all pour out at once. I swear to God, if I... You thought you were being so nice. You were being so nice, and I was a dick about it. Thank you for the 2. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I brought you out of the negative, Heather.
Well, you put me in the negative.
Because your answer was dumb.
I know, but you should have just awarded me 0 instead of being, like, super negative and giving me a negative.
Listen, Heather, I wouldn't have given you negative points if you would have thought that one through. You just really did not think that first one through.
Ryan, I was just in love with myself. That's what happened. It distracted me completely from the matter at hand. But I learned a valuable lesson, which is don't be a narcissist, Heather. Play the game and pay attention to the modifier cards.
All right, Heather. You ready for your third cards?
I'm ready.
On track number 1, a T-Rex about to eat 2 children and countless others. On track number 2, the Fountain of Youth. Who do you save and why?
I guess I've got to save the Fountain of Youth. Because I've got to take out the T-Rex.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm also going to take out 2 children, apparently, along with the T-Rex.
The children might not be on the track. They might be off the track, and he's just big enough to eat them. So, I mean,
fair enough.
Irregardless.
but he's also, even if they are on the track, he's going to eat countless other children.
Sure.
So I got to take out the T-Rex, even though I find the Fountain of Youth materialistic.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll change my mind if we add the modifier cards. On track number 1, a T-Rex about to eat 2 children and countless others has some really racist tattoos on top of it. On track number 2, the Fountain of Youth is wearing a jetpack and may be able to escape the trolley, but there's a 20% chance the jetpack will explode. So I'm definitely saving the Fountain of Youth and running over the T-Rex.
All right.
And then, hey, there's a T-Rex. They can autopsy it, and the paleontologists can have a field day of wonder. They'll be mad at me for killing the T-Rex and saving the children. I know they will.
Probably.
There's never been a dinosaur fully intact like that for them to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're going to at least appreciate that.
For sure.
So there's that.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Heather.
Yes.
I suppose I will award you 3 points for your answer.
Are you doing that just to be nice? I don't care. Thank you. That makes my total score 4. Because I had to come up from the negative, which means, Ryan, you won the round. You get the Gloating Rights Trophy for this round.
Yeah, Heather, I won. Now
it's time for stories inspired by this week's game. I thought it would be cool to do stories about
dinosaurs.
Grandparents. Do a lot of people have fun dinosaur stories,
I don't-
Ryan, to tell?
Jurassic Park does.
Tell me your fun dinosaur story.
There's this one time I was on a porta potty and it was pouring down rain. Next thing I know, I'm in a T-Rex mouth.
That could be in a script. All right, this is from the Reddit question. Tell us a story about your grandparents. From Johnny Apples 33D. I was only 6 at the time, and my family and I were heading to the beach for a week. At 6 years old, my mom was still buying my clothes, and she bought me a pink Speedo to wear on the beach. Even at 6 years old, I knew this was suicide. However, my grandpa decided, fuck it, goes and buys a pink Speedo for himself and takes me to the beach. I have this vivid memory of us walking out onto the beach, stopping on a massive sand dune, and posing with arms on our hips. We had people staring and laughing, but it was the first moment I realized just how amazing my grandpa is. I thought that was heartwarming.
You know, couldn't Grandpa have just bought him a pair of swim trunks, though?
Maybe Grandpa wanted to wear a pink Speedo, Ryan. Did you ever think of that?
I think it was Grandpa's excuse to wear a pink Speedo. But that reminds me
Uh-huh.
of a story.
Please.
Grandma, U.S. Grandma, used to send us clothes in South Africa, and she sent me an American flag Speedo that I sported at the swim park, which got myself a lot of attention from the ladies.
Oh, did it? How old when you were 6? Please continue.
I mean, the ladies much older than myself, but I got the attention nonetheless. Okay?
I have to say this. I have to give you this. You were a very cute little boy.
Thank you, Heather.
I have seen the pictures, look back on them like as an adult, and I was like, oh my God, he's so adorable. Why did I not see it at the time? He was just this annoying little tag along in my life. I love you. But I'd be like, oh, Ryan, and then I look back, I was like, oh, he's so cute though. Look how cute he is.
Why, thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
You were hideous.
All right, from JF Give. My grandfather used to have a recurring nightmare. Not every night, but at least weekly, he'd be laying paralyzed on train tracks, watching this oddly distorted locomotive come barreling towards him. He always woke up just before it hit him and never could pin down why it was happening to him or when it started. Anyway, I was about 7 when they stopped. Turns out, all it took was him going back to Normandy, finding the place where he'd laid for 4 hours with shrapnel in his shoulder, lying down again, and noticing that the corner of a German pillbox looked precisely like the locomotive in his dream.
Huh.
Imagine that.
Interesting.
That's really interesting. From Secretary Bird, I was having problems with a roommate in college. Said roommate frequently abused her boyfriend, mentally and physically, broke things in our apartment, and had nervous breakdowns during which she demanded attention and validation, and if she didn't get it, would lock herself in her room and cut off all her hair, leaving it in a pile in the kitchen just in case we didn't notice. I was venting to my grandmother about this one day and tried to rationalize the roommate's behavior. She had a rough childhood, I said, and she had to go through a lot of anger counseling in high school. My 91-year-old grandmother put down the bird-watching book she was reading, took a sip of her tea, and said, "Dear, sometimes a bitch is just a bitch." It is a motto that has always stuck with me. From a deleted account, I had this totally amazing, stereotypical Italian great-aunt, Anna. She lived in Brooklyn, grew her own oregano, basil, tomatoes in a tiny backyard, smoked like a chimney, and had a territorial monopoly on the kitchen. One time, some of my cousins and I tried to teach her how to play poker. She bluffed and cheated us out of our pots of candy at every single hand, and then would play dumb about not knowing the rules. We even caught her hiding cards. I miss her. Sounds like Dad.
Indeed.
I was playing a game of war with Holly earlier today, and we had a war. So we put down the cards like you go, "I declare war," and you flip over the last one. And she distinctly, because she had her cards face up, sifted through and picked a higher one than mine and put it down. And I was like, that is called cheating. Your grandfather would be proud of you. I got to tell him about that one.
When I'm losing at war and I have a small hand, I'm able to get the high cards where I need them without anybody noticing. Only when I'm playing against Rebecca and the kids, though. I'm more honorable with my friends.
Good to know. Your friends who listen to the podcast? All right. I don't cheat with you guys. Edit it out, Heather. All right. From Jing Ryu. My grandfather used to work at his parents' grocery store. He had been watching this woman come in and out of the store in her yellow raincoat. He just knew he had to be with her, so the next time she walked into the store, my grandfather asked her out. So on and so forth, they fell in love and got married. Fast forward 50 years to their anniversary. My grandpa, as a joke, bought my grandma a yellow raincoat. When he presented it to her, it went like this. "Grandpa, happy anniversary." "Grandma, what's this?" "Grandpa, why, it's a yellow raincoat. When I first saw you wearing a yellow raincoat like this, walking into my store, I just knew I had to be with you." "Grandma, but I've never owned a yellow raincoat." Turns out, after 50 years, my grandfather had married someone entirely different than who he thought he did. Now it's just a giant joke with the family that my grandmother never actually owned a yellow raincoat. From Celery Seed. My grandmother needed a date for her friend's wedding, so she was set up with one of the groom's friends. Anyway, this guy ended up being a real douche. As everyone was filing into the rectory for the reception, she excused herself, presumably to use the restroom, and went instead to the river to catch a break from her horrible date. She started to skip rocks into the river when this man hollered at her to stop because he was trying to fish. Since she was having such a horrible time on her date, she decided to ignore him and continue with her rock skipping. Well, the fisherman was getting pissed, so he yelled at her to stop. His yelling only amused my grandmother, so she started throwing rocks at him. Having realized the fishing was no longer an option, the man introduced himself, and they've been married for almost 60 years. Wow. You know what? This woman threw rocks at me. I don't know. I had to be with her. Hopefully that relationship was okay over the years. From Shady Jane, and this is the last one. A few years before I was born, my dad went to his father to inform him that he would soon be proposing to my mom. My grandfather asked my dad, "Are you sure you want to marry her? I mean, she's a pretty girl. She could leave you." My dad responded, "Well, an ugly girl could leave me too." "Yeah, but who cares?" That's the whole story. That made me laugh really hard when I read it the first time. All right. Well, that does it for round 1 of Trial by Trolley. We'll be back next week with round 2. In the meantime, what are your answers to these questions? What are your stories? Email us. Message me on Instagram. Go and post in the subreddit. You can't post, but you can comment. You can comment in the subreddit. So email is, of course, thepoliticsfreepodcast@outlook.com. On Instagram, we're at thepoliticsfreepodcast. And the subreddit is Politics Free Podcast, all one word, no punctuation. And of course, if you love the podcast, tell somebody about it this week. Let's get more people listening. And that's all we got for this week.
Until we play again.